Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Cavell Group webinar, Transforming Customer Experience and Embracing Generative AI. We've had really a lot of interest in this webinar, so I'm just going to give it a couple of more minutes for as many attendees to arrive, and we'll start in earnest in about 2 minutes if you just hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be starting the webinar in just 1 more minute. I'm just waiting for those final few attendees to join. If you just hold on, we'll be starting in earnest in 1 minute. So good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this Cavell Group webinar in conjunction with Alepo and Lum Mobile. My name is Patrick Watson. I am Head of Research here at Cavell Group, and I just wanted to take you through a little bit of housekeeping for the webinar today. Obviously, we're using the Microsoft Teams webinar platform. You should be able to see the full selection of slides that we're going to be going through with my fellow presenters during the webinar today. However, if you do click onto a different slide, make sure you sync back to the presenter, and then you'll be able to see exactly what the presenter is talking about at the time for context. The webinar will be available on demand, and the full slide deck will be made available to you after the show. So you will be able to, if you have to leave early, or for those people that were unable to join, we'll be able to catch up with that on demand. So without further ado, let me take you through a high-level agenda of what we're talking about today. As I said, my name is Patrick Watson. I'll be taking you through some of Cavell Group's proprietary research around customer experience and the impact of emerging technologies. And then I'm joined by expert guests from Lum Mobile, who are going to be sharing some of the secrets to flawlessly automating customer service. And then also we'll hear from Alepo about implementing emerging technologies, and in this case, generative AI in the right way. We should have a bit of time for question and answers. As I said, any questions at all, you can submit through the Q&A panel. I should have mentioned that up front. So any questions at all you've got during the session, please do submit those in the Q&A panel. And at the end of the session, we should have some time to go through those. Well, without further ado, let's introduce my fellow speakers that we have on the call today. And I'm joined by Flora, Horvath, Director of CX at Lum Mobile. How are you this afternoon, Flora?
I'm well. How are you?
Excellent. I'm glad you can hear me. That's the first. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Pleasure to have you on. And also Jennie-Lee, Support Manager at Lum Mobile. How are you, Jenny?
Hey.
And last but not least, founder and CPO of Alepo Technologies, Jonathan Garini. Jonathan,
hi, Patrick.
Good morning.
Good afternoon in Britain and Europe, and good morning for everyone stateside. And yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, it's always difficult to know whether to say good morning because we're broadcasting across time zones. So we'll be hearing from our expert guests a little bit later on. But just as a sort, I wanted to present some of Cavell's research from a sort of context in terms of the topic today across customer experience and the impact of emerging technologies. Now, for those of you who don't know Cavell Group, we're a research and consultancy firm that's been working in the communication space for more than 15 years. And we conduct research across a variety of different mediums, both speaking to people within the industry, people like Alepo, people like Lum Mobile, to understand how they're deploying technologies, but also end user businesses as well, to understand how they're deploying these technologies, how they're using them themselves, and also consumers and end users. And some of the research I wanted to take you through today was a composite of those different research studies to try and give you a bit of context around this topic of customer experience. So the first point I wanted to make primarily was that improving customer service is one of the #1 strategic priorities for a huge proportion of businesses. The stat you can see on screen is from some enterprise research that we conducted with more than 1,500 businesses, both across North America and Western Europe. And we asked them what were their key communications priorities in terms of strategies for the business. And improving customer service came back as a top 3 priority for almost all businesses. And actually, that was accelerated in smaller businesses. It was even more likely that smaller businesses were likely to want to improve their customer service. And this is something that we've seen across vertical markets. So not just retail or organizations, renowned for their customer service, but also within the industry that we're focusing on today in communications. Really improving customer service and customer experience provision is an absolutely key strategic priority for those businesses. So I just think that sets the scene in terms of the importance of what we're going to talk about today. Now, I don't know about you, but the customer service that I receive on a daily basis as a consumer doesn't always meet my expectations. And this is from a study of consumers that we did of more than 1,000 consumers. And we asked them a host of different questions about customer service and customer experience. And actually, nearly half of those, so the stat on screen, 45% of the consumers that we surveyed actually felt that customer service is worse now than it was 3 years ago. And considering some of the emerging technologies and developments that we've seen in both contact centers, both dedicated, formal and informal, I found that really surprising. I know from speaking to the experts in the industry that there are some really great solutions out there. So why is the perception of a really significant proportion of consumers that customer service is getting worse? I think we've got a real job as an industry, both from a communication standpoint, but in wider customer serving industries to try and improve that reputation. And that's some of the things I'm going to talk about with the experts today. So if 45% of consumers think that customer service is worse now than it was 3 years ago, what are some of the biggest concerns that businesses have? Effectively, what we've seen is that one of the key frustrations are around waiting times. One of the biggest frustrations that those consumers talked about was waiting times. And that, I think, is something that the topic that we're talking about today in terms of automated systems can really work to alleviate. Effectively, I know how distressing it is when you get in touch with a business and you're stuck on hold, and frustration with waiting times is an absolutely top frustration for businesses. In terms of other frustrations that consumers told us about, rude or poor agent interactions were cited in the top 3 by the majority of consumers. This actually came as a bit of a surprise to me, because I know that the industry works so hard on providing good agent interaction. And I think that's part of the reason that the automated and digital systems that we're going to talk about today can alleviate that. One of the #2 complaint from consumers was effectively that rude or poor quality agent interactions were affecting their customer service experience. And I think improving that with automated systems could be really helpful. Those automated systems are possibly not perceived by consumers as the most effective now. The graph that I've put on screen here shows that generally consumer perception of them is negative at the moment. So the graph on the right that you can see is we asked the consumers in that survey how they feel automated systems are, and chatbots are in particularly, at handling customer services issues. And as you can see, more than 1/3 of the consumers that took part in our survey felt that those systems were actually bad, that they were creating a negative customer experience or a poor customer service. I think this shows that although a lot of these technologies have been deployed, there's a lot of work that the industry needs to do to improve that. And effectively, we really need to work on effective automated systems and chatbots to ensure that customer handling and customer service is as efficient as possible. And that's something that we're going to talk about with Lum Mobile today. So if we've got nearly a third of consumers thinking that automated systems are bad. Let's deep dive into that in a bit more detail. And effectively, what I wanted to look at was some of the key frustrations that consumers had with automated systems. 90% of consumers are open to automated systems. That's from our latest consumer research. 90% of the consumers were open to effective automated systems. However, they were particularly looking for automated systems for unique types of communications with a business. So these might be management changes, these might be add-ons. Generally, 68% of the consumers that we spoke to wanted to speak to a human agent specifically if it was about a complaint. So the type of customer communication that you have really does depend on the type of inquiry and matching that to the correct medium. So the majority of consumers at the moment are open to effective systems, but they want to ensure that in certain circumstances, when something has to be escalated, they can move that to a human. I know something that we're going to talk about with Jonathan later on, and both Flora and Jennie-Lee from Lum Mobile is using generative AI to improve some of these systems. And we wanted to understand from consumers what the current understanding of artificial intelligence is within markets generally. So the graph on the left shows the number of businesses, and again, this is from a different study that we did of 1,500 businesses, about whether they were already using technology that uses AI or is described as AI enabled within their business. And as you can see, nearly a third of the market, 31%, are already using AI-based technology, with 26% planning to do so in the future. So there's already more than half of the businesses that we spoke to in our survey said that they're open to using AI or are using it already. What are the desired improvements that both consumers and businesses are looking for with artificial intelligence? Well, it ties back into that previous frustration that I talked about with customer service. The number one thing that frustrates people is wait times. What do they want AI to improve? Faster response times. The things are causal. Also, more personalized interactions. Consumers want businesses to understand their unique position and not be seen as effectively a customer number. So more personalized interactions are one of the key desired improvements with the use of artificial intelligence technology. I know one of my biggest frustrations, and again, on the previous survey that we did, was the requirement to repeatedly repeat yourself when you're having to enter in your details, maybe repeat your name, security information, address, that sort of thing. So generally, consumers and businesses are hoping that AI-based technology can remove that requirement for sort of repeated context and having to reiterate yourself over and over again. So those are some of the sort of desired improvements with AI, but we know that businesses do have some concerns about using artificial intelligence. And I just wanted to highlight those because I think it's really important that as an industry, if we're going to be looking at artificial intelligence technology and emerging technologies, we need to be able to understand and reassure businesses that any of the concerns they have are going to be allayed. And I've highlighted some of those on the screens here. And I'm sure all of you will have seen examples in the news of artificial intelligence technology potentially breaching customer privacy and data regulations. Maybe even employees using public AI tools, public large language models like ChatGPT. Can I put my private company data into an open source large language model? I think a lot of businesses are concerned with the privacy of data and employees using that correctly. The AI making unethical decisions or breaking laws. I've seen a number of examples in the news of artificial intelligence technologies breaking company policy. So I think that's a key concern for businesses. I think that ties into that final point about artificial intelligence acting in unintended ways. So that is more than enough from me. I just wanted to highlight a couple of key takeaways from my presentation today, and hopefully that will set the scene for what we're going to talk about with Lum Mobile and what Jonathan's going to share from the Alepo perspective. First of all, customer service provision is an an absolutely key priority for businesses of all sizes across all verticals. So improving customer experience provision is a really high strategic priority. Currently, the perception of automated systems is generally negative. So as an industry and as technology providers, we need to work to improve that. And finally, consumers and businesses have a lot of hope that AI and emerging technologies are going to improve customer experience, but ultimately they have some concerns which we need to overcome. So I hope those are sort of 3 takeaways that you took from my session today. That's more than enough of me talking. I wanted to bring in some real expert guests to talk to. And Flora, I wanted to bring you in first. So Lum Mobile is the more I've been learning about it as we've done the planning for this webinar, it's a really interesting case. So I was hoping you could tell us a bit more about Lum Mobile and you're part of SaskTel, but if you could give us a bit of the background on Lum Mobile, that'd be great.
Sure. So, like you said, Lum Mobile is part of SaskTel, who is the we are the leading telco in Saskatchewan, Canada. So the reason we launched Lum Mobile is we wanted to launch an all-digital, prepaid, bring your own device wireless company here in Saskatchewan. So basically, Lum Mobile is a combined membership model with data plans, but we do also offer voice and text as well to those customers who want the full suite of services. The reason we launched an all-digital prepaid bring your own device was really to attract an audience that SaskTel otherwise couldn't attract. So specifically those that we call are digitally entrenched, those that prefer and are comfortable doing business online and only online with their providers. Not only because we're all digital, but also bringing your own device. It does enable a cost structure for us that enables us to be a lot more profitable and an operating model that will not only increase profitability here in the province in Saskatchewan, but it also enables us to expand beyond our borders without the need to build facilities in other areas of Canada.
I think that's really interesting, and that's something we talked about in the planning yesterday. I know a lot of the operators and the carriers and the telcos on this webinar today will be really interested in that. I talked a bit about some of our research around customer services within the industry, and with Lum Mobile as an all-digital brand, it would be great to get some insight into how that affected customer experience.
For sure. So what we do know is that once our customers are with us, they love us. We have great customer experience scores based on those customers that we survey. At this moment, we have 100% likelihood to recommend, and we have very low friction scores, meaning that they don't appear to have a lot of friction when using our user interface, both via the app and on the web. Being all digital, I mean, we know that user experience has to be paramount. You don't have a salesperson with you, guiding you along the way. So with that, we do know that user experience and developing user interface needs to be frictionless. We create these frictionless customer journeys by doing a lot of user online testing, online focus groups. We measure and track friction scores, but ultimately we do create digital end-to-end journeys, and we test those prior to launching. Although I will say, although we are self-serve, one of the things that is of utmost importance is that we do still support our customers. So even though you don't have direct and immediate access to a human, we do know that when customers have issues with their service, they do need and want support. So we do offer support via email. We have also created an online digital member forum, meaning customers can help each other. But almost more importantly, and kind of our latest advancement, is the introduction of our newest employee that we call our Lum bot, which is our first entrance into generative AI with the chatbot.
I think first of all, I'm really pleased that what you're doing aligns with our research in terms of if you need to escalate to a human, you can in certain cases. And Jennie-Lee, I wanted to bring you in here because Flora mentioned the Lum bot, and effectively you've deployed. So this is generative AI chatbot with the help of Alepo. What's the experience been like so far?
Yeah, so I think one thing that's really important to us to understand is that because we're a lot of self-serve, digital only, we need a high functioning bot. It's very important to us to have something like that. So frustration points with traditional bots, what we've typically seen that aren't AI generated. So customers are having to do predefined paths. You need a prompt to prompt the bot in a specific way to get a desired answer. There's really limited functionality with it. With the new bots or AI bots, it's really conversational based. It has a natural language ability. The bot's able to understand if you're writing in partial sentences, if you have spelling mistakes. It's actually multilingual as well. So that is something that here in Canada, we have a lot of new immigrants to Canada. So because we have a self-serve model, it further empowers our self-serve model, and it actually empowers those who maybe don't have English as their first language to be able to use the service and understand what we're offering. Because the bot itself is customizable, we can align it to our brand. It's a programmable personality, so it's not rude to customers. So we've kind of heard that typically a frustration point is agents being rude to customers. So it will not be rude. We have done some recent live interviews with some Lum customers, some people who aren't customers, and actually have been really impressed with the bot's ability so far. The language ability, what it can do, how conversational like it is. So yeah, it's with an AI bot too, the differences are kind of the possibilities are endless. So we have some current functionality. We just launched in December, so I think we've kind of gotten pretty far so far. But our current functionality, we are able to do things like retrieve information about a membership. We can advise different plan offerings that we have, what balances they have. You can make purchases right inside the bot itself. It's even smart enough to understand prorated amounts if something is going to be prorated. The bot can do troubleshooting. It can suggest steps to help customers resolve their own issues. And if that is unsuccessful, they can create a ticket. So they can forward a ticket to us, which is like a contact us, in order to get that more human touch. And when it is creating these support tickets to get additional help, it's actually advising us as the Lum support what steps were suggested to the customer already, to not have to re-ask those same steps and understand what has already taken place, to just kind of make things a little bit smoother and faster. So how do we know the bot's doing what we need it to do? How is it serving our customers? How do we know how it's performing? So we actually have a admin tool that we access quite frequently. It can help identify unanswered questions coming from customers. It can provide insight and flag conversations based on likes and dislikes. So a customer can give feedback for an answer, a like and a dislike. It can offer information about the sentiment of conversations, what frequently questions are asked, and distinguish between current members and new prospects as well. So it helps us identify what we need to do better at communicating to customers, building a frequently asked questions library, and so forth.
Yeah, considering you've only had this deployed since December, it sounds like you've done absolutely loads with it effectively.
Yes.
I wanted to ask, have you been able to sort of gather any, because all of this sort of qualitative stuff is really interesting, and some of the features and functions you deploy, have you been able to sort of gather any hard data to quantify how it's impacting customer service or its impact with Lum?
Yeah, I think something that's interesting about the bot itself is the typical messages exchanged with the bot is about 5. So we know it's not just a simple question, a simple answer. We're actually having engaging conversations. 89% of our conversations right now are positive or neutral sentiment. So only a small percentage of them go unanswered. We have 90% of conversations that don't result in a ticket. So out of the thousands of conversations we attend to every month, a significant number of questions are being answered by the Lum bot, and they don't require, that more personalized answer. It is personalizing to their specific question. If they can't go and read the website, it's a quick answer. Typically if someone couldn't find information on our website before, it might be a prospective customer. They might leave because they don't have the information that they need and they don't have time to read through it.
Okay, really interesting. And as a sort of final point, we've got a lot of telcos, operators, carriers, mobile providers on the webinar today. So if considering the experience you've had so far, if you give advice to other operators considering something similar and using Gen AI as well? What would your sort of top tips be?
Yeah, I think consumers in general have high expectations. We all know that. I have high expectations as a consumer. Patrick, you've mentioned that as well. So people expect quick, efficient service. Implementing an all digital self-serve model with these AI bots, it can satisfy those customers who want to be able to manage their services on their own time when they please. They don't want to wait on hold to talk to someone. It doesn't mean that you don't have to offer support though. So customers have high expectations. They want answers now. You have to offer different channels of support to provide instant assistance. So the way that Lum does that right now, Flora's kind of mentioned it already, but we do have the member forum. So customers rely on customers to get answers. It's instant. It's a community-based forum. We have our frequently asked questions library. So building that, using the bot to say, hey, what are customers asking us questions about? How can we make this more self-serve? The Lum bot itself. So, if most inquiries aren't being answered, instantly on the site, they can ask the Lum bot specifically. We can filter out the common questions from there, and last but not least, we can have support tickets created so they can contact us and have those really complex issues that require human interaction, more utilizing your skilled workers to handle those more complex issues themselves. So something else I would say is manage your expectations. So an AI bot, it requires continuous monitoring and updates. Don't expect perfection off the hop. It's, of course, better than most chatbots out there. However, you'll need to train the bot to make sure the information is accurate, relevant, and it's evolving with your customer needs as well. Something else would be maybe ask a lot of questions. So whoever you're getting to implement this, make sure you understand what the bot can do and what it can't do. Understand what concerns your company or your customers might have about privacy and security, be able to answer those questions, and just understand the different intricacies of your business, how complex your business is, how these demands will need to advance in features and tools. As customers expectations grow, they're going to be demanding more from the bot itself. Kind of more plan for long-term reductions in costs compared to the initial investment, because you'll see some savings there, and you'll see some advancements out of that. And so far, I guess in general, we have seen about 100% of customers say that they are likely to renew. So what we're doing is working. And then also we have an overall net promoter score of 62%. So if anyone is familiar with those metrics, that's actually industry leading. So far, so good. We've kind of talked a little bit about, what the bot can do, these cool features and stuff. So I just have a little bit of a demo here to show you. So this is a customer logged into their account. This is a fake account, but I'm just going to interact with the bot here to kind of show you what kind of questions it can ask, how it's conversational like. So it's personalized. It has your name there. Typically you open a bot in the bottom corner. So it's got some predefined paths still, data balances, membership, and so forth. So a question here, why do I buy data instead of a minutes plan? So here at Lum, we mostly have everything having as a data package. So we want to be able to have customers pay for what they use. We don't want to have data expire. So typical plans give you a set bucket and then it expires at the end. No unexpected overages, always full speeds, flexibility. So if you want to add unlimited services, you can. And then we do have travel data available as well. So currently we do 1 megabyte of data equals 10 texts or 1 minute of calling. So that's just one example of how it reacts. And then you can see the like and dislike there. You can actually purchase service through the bot. So this is just kind of demonstrating. It'll give the different options available. We selected Canada data, and then it'll give the different data buckets available. So we're making our purchase. It's confirming the card that you want to make the purchase with. It's confirming a payment of a prorated amount, or you can back out, of course, with cancel. and then it's confirming the purchase. So another question here, can I add my kid's phone to my account? So we have something here at Lum called linked accounts. And really it's going to talk about the benefits of what a linked account is. It allows you to give either full control or manage the access to a service that with a different phone number. You can have different payment cards. You can have it on one payment card. It just really allows you some flexibility on how much or how little you want to manage their service. So here's an example of troubleshooting. I can't make a call help. So it says, here's some steps you can follow. So make sure you have some data. Check how many bars you have. Is it a network issue? Try texting someone else. Call another number. Let the community know. So it's kind of encouraging, you know, helping each other out. And then worst case scenario, if you need to raise a ticket, you need to raise a ticket so we can assist the customer further. So after that, customer tried all those things, still didn't help. So now it'll actually allow them to create a support ticket to contact us. And it'll just confirm the details of the support ticket. So it's letting us know the ticket number and the description, the status, the date of opening, and so forth. And then just ending with a thanks, and it'll have a friendly, because it's not rude, right? It'll have a friendly ending here as well. So, so yeah, this bot is live. If you guys are interested, you can go to lum.ca. You can try it out for yourself. One thing I would ask you to do, though, if you are trying out the bot, to give it feedback. Like it, dislike it, because I am trying to, out of those conversations, improve our bot. Like I said, we've just launched in December, so anything we can learn about it in the meantime would be great. So if you want to see it in real time, you can definitely go to our site and check it out.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Jennie-Lee, and Flora as well. And like Jennie-Lee said, learning about this during the planning for this webinar has been really interesting. So I think it would be really worthwhile going and having. And I can see lots of questions coming in both the chat and the Q&A, and we'll have some time at the end to come back to those questions.
Yeah, good.
Excellent. Jonathan, my pleasure to introduce. So this bot, the Lum bot, was built in conjunction with Alepo, and it's my pleasure to introduce founder and CPO, Jonathan Garini. Jonathan.
Thanks, Patrick. Of course, I need to unmute. I'm Jonathan Garini, Chief Prompt Officer at Alepo. I founded the company, then I left. Alepo has been doing a lot of stuff in telco, BSS, healthcare system, and what's not. I left to do generative AI, and then I rejoined the organization, and I lead the roadmap around our generative AI offering, and I'll touch a couple of those that are applicable for the contact center, and kind of explain the business metrics and what to expect. I think, you know, if I want to characterize, Patrick, the problems that the survey results and what we see is being transformed by generative AI, voice and messaging bots, right, is really the switch from frustration to engagement, right? So we all know, I do it, right? I get, usually when I get into an IVR or messaging, and I understand it's an automated system, agent. We all been there, right? In this frustration, both as consumers and also from the other side of the table, you know, it's frustrating. But this is flipped, right? And you could see it by, like, in Lum results, by how few escalations are there to human agents, right? So we see from frustration to delightful to engagement of users and subscribers, and I think that pretty much sums it up. It's a huge change in automated system for customer experience. A little bit recapture of some of, because Jenny and Flora, you didn't have slides, right? So just things that you said, right? I think really impressive, 100% that want to renew. You know, I found it very interesting that 30% of the conversations are sales related, converting potential customers going on the main Lum website that results in increasing revenue, positive sentiment, as well as 90% of improved troubleshooting. That's for an all digital one, right? 90% of the issues resolved on the first digital touch point. So this all enabled by a telcobot.ai, the generative AI platform, a low-code platform that is developed by Alepo and runs the Lum bot. There are it does various use cases. The two major use cases are agent assist, which assist the humans, right? The way that we do existing support, assist them to provide better support, but it's still a human first touch, right? And so better productivity for them. And then the virtual agent, which is a digital only first touch point that the Lum bot is, right? So just a couple of slides on the agent assist, and then we'll go back to, then we'll go on the virtual agent, right? So on the agent assist, what is it? It's co-pilot tools, right? Some that are specific for your organization, that work on your own knowledge basis, right? We have a lot of tools to allow to train the bot and have it learn and use your existing knowledge bases in a way that doesn't really difficult to deploy, right? Those are web crawlers and upload tools and OCR and what's not, right? You should expect to reduce issue resolution time if you have no agent assist, right, by 40 to 70%. And you should also expect to have a faster new employee onboarding, right? So you could onboard this digital coaching that the tool provides and feedback and what's not, right? Employees could be get into a productive state, right, within days rather than weeks in this with this system. They're overall happier. They are more productive with less time. Doing more with less is the AI thing, right? But that's very important, right, for the future, for HR benefits, unlimited vacations, flexible hours, all of that are made possible with the agent assist. And also through classification rules and AI, it provides more insights by analyzing those conversations, by analyzing this and aggregating the data about your products, about the customer, about the competition. We see a lot of time they mention it, right? Things that you just don't know. The way that it's delivered, right? There are multiple modalities that we deliver it. What we see here is a sidebar modality that works side by side to an existing agent application, and it works. And we could see some shortcuts, right? What we call the shortcuts, right? Those buttons on the right, that those appear contextually to what is the task and what is the context of the conversation on the left. If it's an activation issue, right? It will know to go and get knowledge from the activation or from the technical support, I guess, knowledge base, right? The way we structure it and propose those answers and all of that, right? So just kind of a little bit on that. And then the expected business outcome for a generative AR virtual agent, right, is churn reduction, right? I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. I jumped here. That's on me because this is kind of a condensed slide, right? So now we're moving on the generative AI virtual agent, the one that was shown very interestingly by Jennie and discussed by Flora. What are the business outcomes? When you deploy it, what should you expect, right? So you should expect to reduce churn, overall customers more satisfied, they get what they want right now, 24/7. You appeal to Gen Z, or what Flora, you defined as the digital savvy, those that are looking for the self-service. They're expecting it. They don't want to interact with humans. They want a good bot that works. So you attract those. When your competitors do not have it, they will come to you. And then here we see statistics: 15 to 35% of issue resolved at first digital touch point. Lum is 90%, right? But Lum is all digital, only like primarily digital. There's no synchronous escalation to human agent, although we're start kind of chatting with SaskTel around that, but we do have that, right? So how many chats will be escalated to human agents? So we expect about 35% of the chats to not be escalated to human agents. That means 35% less work for human agents. The brand image is very consistent. You know, we worked with Lum to train. The bot may have its own personality, and with the brand guidelines that are very important, both for Lum as a corporation and specifically in Canada, right? So we do that, and you get the same consistent experience. It's an upbeat, optimistic bot, right? Go ahead and try it. I like the personality that Lum helped us create for this bot. Multilingual was discussed, and it allows you to do data-driven decision-making. Overall, the project was pretty quick, 2 months. We started around October, mid-October, and we launched mid-December. And we keep kind of delivering. Alepo works as in agile methodology, and we keep delivering fortnightly updates and upgrades, and it's just a super fun project to work on in general. I put up this architecture slide. I think I'm going to skip it, right, just for lack of time, right? But you know, I would say we employ the important part here is that we have a lot of front end. People could talk with messages, with WhatsApp, with messages, could dial in. All of this works, very low latency, and we have a bunch of agents that we deployed, an agent architecture that integrate with IT system to do all those operations that Jenny mentioned. The human oversight is done through reporting, customized. You could add more classification report. This is a dashboard that could easily customize by the platform. Everything is very integrated, right? And if we had an AI classification report, it appears there automatically. And the same goes on when a supervisor does a deep dive, right? The example that Jenny talked about filtering by likes or dislike and seeing what does the user dislike. Is it a bot problem that they need to fix, or is it there's something they don't like by our policy? So I should know, right? And it gives those deep insights, deep dives, and then the summarization tool, very important, right? When you deal with thousands of conversation and you want to kind of get a brief thing, what's going on. We see that on the right. Here, this slide talks about data privacy and security. There's supposed to be a shield here on the right side. I don't see it. I don't know if you guys see it, right? But it basically says GDPR compliance, enterprise security. You could do it on the cloud, on your own tenancy, or as SaaS, a lot of security controls. But the main thing here is that we implemented a DLP, or a data leakage protection, a small language models that sits on your own cloud tenancy, identify automatically when someone types a first name or address or a credit card number, all of that, and does everything that it's needed by the regulator to encrypt or to mask and to do all of that, right? So, one of the problems with AI is that you don't control what the user type, and you still send it, to someone, be it Entropy, Google, Alepo, right, and all of that, right? So we allow you to sanitize it on the way there and desanitize it on the way back. Very important features, and it protects information security too, right? Sensitive information when the bots are deployed, for example, for legal review of contracts and what's not. So that gives me to a list of risks that, again, there should be a checkbox here under mitigation for all of them. I don't see it. I only on the right, I only see things on the left. But the privacy, information security, I mentioned, we mitigated during the DLP. The inaccuracy and hallucination, it's a super important problem. I mean, you can't just go and throw an LLM and tell him to do it right, because it will hallucinate, right? And users will try to jailbreak, will try to embarrass your brand, disparage your brand, create a poem that is a complaint about Lum, all of those, right? So we address those, we mitigate those through extensive training and extensive testing and prompt engineering and our experience and all of that. But as Jenny mentioned, you could all go and try it for yourself. And let me add, try jailbreaking it. Try see if you could disparage or embarrass Lum's brand. We took a lot of care around that. so it doesn't happen. A little bit about Alepo. Alepo has been in business for 20 years and been enabling digital brands, especially in the telecom space. The generative AI is our latest and foray into that, but there's just traditional web-based customer care, billing, and all of that products as well. Some examples of our customers in kind of everywhere, all continents. Really pleased, the good success rate, and I would say that we have three partnering on this generative AI. We have three partnering options to go together. One is the co-create. We like where the mobile operator already has a Gen AI team, right? We like to work very closely with them, see where they're at, and kind of see how we could bring value, how they could impact the roadmap, and how could we work together. And we also have a white label program there where we go together with the operator to enterprises that have their own contact center on a kind of multi-tenancy branded solution. And then we have the fully managed one, that Alepo fully managed. That's the one that Lum worked with Alepo, where they tell us what they want, and someone to control. Is that okay? Yes. All right. Where it's fully managed, and that's what we did at Lum, or self-managed. It's a regular SaaS platform. We train you, we put customer success. It's a low-code platform, either available as SaaS or could be also installed on your own cloud tenancy. You do whatever you want with it, and we just help you through customer success, right? So those are the ways for us to partner. I assume if you took control, that's probably my last slide. Patrick, so back to you. Yeah.
Really interesting, John. I think you've answered. Well, we've got some time for question and answer, and we've had some really good Q&A come in. So I just wanted to sort of go to some questions, if that's right. I think you answered a couple of these, Jonathan, in your presentation. But how long does it take a deployment like this for planning and implementation?
Right. So we did kind of an incremental deployment. I think, Jenny, right? I mean, not all capabilities were launched on day one, and we kept adding capabilities. I think we started by answering questions and then checking balance and all of that, right? And that's our approach. We did it from engagement to actual launch in 2 months or 9 weeks. And that's a really realistic timeline. It could be shorter, it could be longer. It depends, how much features it's important for, or capabilities of the bot to be human-like, right? To perform human tasks are important to do for launch, and how much could be introduced after. But that's a good. I think that's a good ballpark for a mobile operator type of deployment. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think too, something that we're looking at currently doing is having the bot convert from the AI bot to a live agent, and that will require some systems integration and for us to be able to do that. But it just talks about the advancement of the features with a bot. So trying to picture your future goal at the beginning would be the best to start the conversation with.
And there's another question here from Prane D. Do you have to sort of feed the chatbot with complex issues needing human interaction so that next time a similar issue arises, the bot is trained already, or is that sort of inherent? How does that sort of education learning process work?
The inherent aspect I'd defer to Jonathan, but as far as I do audit the conversations, and as I see things that need tweaking, we do provide different material to the bot to be able to handle questions like that in the future. Of course, there's 1,000,001 ways to ask a question. The intent could be there, but it might not be asked in the same way. So, of course, you can't capture everything, but yes, there are ways to train it based on the more complex issues as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you started asking it, I thought you were asking, could you train the bot to escalate to humans, right, on specific questions? I always like questions that I didn't think about. Yes, you could do something like that. No, that wasn't the question, but yeah, I mean, I don't have a lot to add to Jenny. That's the way to do it. If we see a problem, we get more, we add another layer of training to the bot, right? That's our job. That's what we do. It's very important that the bot will be accurate, will be able to understand intent that is asked in different ways, like Jenny said. That's really the delivery, the high quality delivery of a generative AI. It's in those details, right? So yeah.
And one of the areas I mentioned that I thought would be interesting to a lot of the attendees was the sort of the international capability and the multilingual capability. And Pranay also asked how many languages are supported. I suppose that depends on the sort of design. Jonathan, anything on that and sort of languages supported?
Yes, that's right. So there are multiple techniques that we employ for languages, right? We really like when the LLM itself is natively supports languages, and that's our latest update to the Lum bot, right? And I mean, we haven't seen a language yet that is not natively supported. We have to tweak it and kind of deal with it. So it's really cool, right? So anyone here speaks a language other than English, right? I encourage them to try that language on that Lum bot on lum.ca, right? And just see that. And there's voiceover and microphone, right? This is not yet turned on by Lum, but I expect it to be turned on soon, right? But those are foreign languages as well, right? So all those capabilities are available too.
And a question here as well, and you mentioned, Jonathan, a number of LLMs in your presentation. You also mentioned small language models as well. And the question here, the chatbot is based to which LLM? I suppose that depends, or how do you do that?
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's very important not to tie ourselves with one LLM provider, right? So, I don't know if I'm comfortable in disclosing which LLM we're using now, but I could tell you that we've been, all the big ones, right, have been kind of tested and experienced, and you could transfer all those features that we talk about information security very easily and test them with different LLMs. And yes, the small language, the most intelligent language models are only available on the cloud, and that has inherent security, information security, and privacy problem. So that's why we deploy the small language model on your premise, on the edge, or in our tenancy, your tenancy, right? So those sensitive information do not reach if you use OpenAI, if you use Anthropic or Google. Those are the three good large language model that we encourage our customers kind of to select. And it's really nice. You just select them from a list in our platform, low code, right? Very easy. Everything works. All work that you've done, the prompt shortcuts, the security, the programming, everything, the integrations, the agents, the tools, everything worked, right? As you move from one LLM to another. Yeah.
A couple more questions here. Really good one from Ian. About whether the bot could sense frustration as a consumer. And Jenny, I noticed it in your demo. One of the questions you put a smiley face in. So, I mean, you're never supposed to read tone into text anyway, even as a human. But I wasn't sure if you can read frustration or emojis and that sort of thing.
It's very intuitive as far as you can ask it funny questions too, and sometimes it'll joke back. It'll still be professional though, so I haven't seen a lot of customers being frustrated and it saying, it'll always apply empathy, but it will suggest creating a ticket to be able to contact us if they're getting at a stuck point. So yes and no, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And a question here, and this might come to you, Jonathan. What's the process to integrate a bot like this with a BSSS system other than Aleppo's?
Yes. So we've done that. We obviously done the Alepo as a BSS, so we've done it with the Alepo BSS, so you can see end-to-end everything. But those are webhooks, a very modern way of integrations, right? We make it super easy to integrate, and even with the capabilities pre-existing within the mobile operator organization. But that's the work, right? That's where those testings and everything kind of happening. A good part of those 8 weeks that I mentioned. We like to work with TM Forum when it comes to telco TM Forum APIs. They know, and we've done this, we've tested it, right? But any webhook right? Our integration method is webhooks. Any cloud to cloud based integration, right, works there. And most modern telcos have that, right? So because that's how the mobile app work, and that's how other system work, right? So we just piggyback on those existing kind of integrations.
And final question here from John for Flora and Jenny. Sort of how have your competitors been reacting in your local markets?
I'll maybe take that one. So I will say that we've definitely made an impression with respect to the, for lack of a better term, the sexiness of our brand. We have very, very vibrant colors. Our voice and tone. I will say that some of our competitors have taken some approaches to mimic that in some way, especially some of our offers in market. In terms of innovation, the one thing I will say is that we just recently did a customer survey with respect to all of the crown corporations in Saskatchewan, and customers are noticing that SaskTel is definitely a little bit more innovative than other crown corporations in Saskatchewan because of the launch of Lum. So I can't necessarily say that competitors have noticed or commented, not to my knowledge, but I can definitely say that the overall Saskatchewan population has definitely noticed.
Right. And I can see a couple more questions coming. We'll actually run out of time for this session, but what we'll do, I'll coordinate with the speakers and we'll come back to answer any questions. I'm aware there have been a couple of technical issues today with maybe not all the information on the slides being visible to everyone, but everyone who's registered for this webinar will be able to get both the recording and the full slide deck on demand, just in case there wasn't anything that didn't show a particular time. If you want to interested in contacting Alepo, having a look at the bot live on Loom or any of the Cavell research you saw today, reach out. The QR code on screen will also submit some feedback for us for the webinar today, and we'd be really grateful for your feedback. But for now, though, I just want to say a massive thank you to Jonathan, to Flora, and to Jennie-Lee for taking part, and thank you all for joining us for this Cavell webinar today.
Thank you all.
Thank you.